Hey, Brett here again with Elite Entrepreneurs. Excited to be here to talk about the sixth and final key to success. Your success, by the way, let me remind you, we want nothing more than for you to be successful in your entrepreneurial journey. We're glad you're here with us. This key to success might be my favorite, actually. It's leadership. And you may not have thought about leadership as a key to your success when you started business, however long ago that was. But it is so essential for you if you want to keep growing to figure out leadership. So let's talk about this. Let's take a step back. When you started your business, maybe it was you alone. Maybe it was you with a partner. Maybe it was you and a VA. But there weren't many of you. And you learned some things and you did some things. You learned and did, you learned and did. And you got this thing off the ground. You learned how to do this product market fit. You learned how to sell. You learned how to market. You learned how to put together an operation that would fulfill on the things that you sold to clients or customers or patients or whatever you call those wonderful people who give you money for your product or service, right? You learned every step of the way as an entrepreneur, and you're so amazing. You're so capable that you can do all that stuff. And many entrepreneurs then hit a ceiling in their growth because they are so darn capable, right? They know how to do it all. And now they've got a team. They might have a team of 6 or 8 people, but now they become the bottleneck. And they haven't learned how to shift from learning and doing to leading. And so we're going to talk today about how leadership can be unlocked in you so that your growth and your business's growth can continue. So leadership means a lot of things to a lot of people. So we're not going to talk about the broad term of leadership. We're going to talk about your job as a leader in your entrepreneurial journey, okay? So your job, you got 3 main jobs as a leader. You're telling me, Brett, I have way more hats than that. I've got 15 hats, I got whatever. Even if you've whittled them down, maybe you feel like you still have 5 that you have to keep on. And to some extent, right now, that might be true. But eventually, you have to get to the place where you're wearing only these 3 hats, okay? The first is set the vision. The second is build the team. And the third is get the resources. We're going to talk about each of those briefly. Now, my friend Clay talks about conscious capitalism. He talks about enlightened entrepreneurship. Those terms, those ideas, they're fantastic, and I don't have time in this module to go into those in depth, so please refer back to the book on those elements of your leadership, your mindset, as you continue to lead your entrepreneurial venture forward. But I get to talk to you about set the vision, build the team, and get the resources. So with set the vision, we talked about that with the 4th key to success when we talked about strategy, and specifically company strategy, that you had to set the vision. So I'm going to cover it a little bit, but we don't have to go into it in depth here. But it is key. It's your number 1 responsibility as a leader is to set the vision. Your people, together, collectively, you want them taking targeted, coordinated action. And setting the vision enables them to do that. You get clarity together, you get alignment of resources, and you get focus so that your precious resources don't get spread too thin. Okay? Clarity, alignment, and focus, those are kind of the benefits to setting the vision really well. So what does setting the vision look like? It means getting really clear on the purpose, like crystal clear. And when you get clear on the why, the core why of your business, it unlocks a passion and energy that is unparalleled by any other type of business that just goes into business for earning a buck. Like, you get to tap into people's passion and energy in a way that you can't get any other way. So you want to start with the core why. Now, if it helps you, here's a few ways you can look at this core why. It could be the cause that you're up to together. It could be the thing you're passionate about. It could be the impact or the meaning that you're having in the world, right? There's lots of ways to frame it, but when it comes down to it, it's that core why, and it is the guiding star of all of your efforts. Lasts 100 years or more, or at least 100 years, right? Just think about it as forever. It doesn't change. And once you get that clarity of purpose, now you have something that people can be attracted to, that they can rally around, that can fuel them on Monday morning when it's time to get up and do this again. So start with purpose if you want to set a powerful vision in your business. Okay, the second thing you do to set the vision powerfully in your business is to get really clear about the values. These are the core behavioral elements that we agree to as sort of like a code of conduct for how we operate around here. I like to say this is our way of being. This is how we be around here. And you can sort of substitute the word who instead of how. It could be the who, the right people who belong on this bus. Now, we love diversity. We like diverse backgrounds. We like diverse beliefs. We like diverse whatever. We like diversity. But in purpose and values, we want complete sameness. We want unity in those things. These are our core shared identity, core belonging things in our business, okay? We can be different on all the other things, but in purpose and values, we need to be the same because that's why we do what we do and it's how we do what we do. And that oneness creates a bunch of positive energy in our business, but it also helps us understand who we're not and who we don't hire and which customers aren't our best ones to serve because they don't appreciate what we're about and who we serve. So core identity, purpose and values, those are the core elements of setting the vision. And then related to that is that clear mission that we talked about in the other module on the strategy key, okay? So I'm not gonna get into the mission now because I did that in depth in that other module. But purpose, values, and mission, those three things together are your number one responsibility as a leader, to set the vision powerfully for your team. Now, I just said for your team, I actually mean to say with your team. And that's part of what Clayton talks about with the enlightened entrepreneur. It's like, these people around me are amazing. And if I enroll them, they're going to be excited about what we're creating together. If I bring them along as owners, that's going to go way further than if I just go off on my own and set a vision and then come back and try to sell it to everybody else. It won't be theirs. It'll always be yours. So as much as possible, it's your opportunity to co-create a powerful vision with your team, not for your team, at your team, to your team, right? With your team. And when you get that right, it takes your team and your business to a whole new level because now you've got their discretionary cycles in their thoughts and their hearts, right? It's like mind and hearts are all in because they helped you set that vision. Okay, so set the vision is the first role that you have as a leader in your business. Second, we're going to go to build the team. There's really two parts to this, and most entrepreneurs don't think about this first part that I'm going to talk about. It's really your organizational development. That's kind of a geeky or technical terms in bigger companies, organizational development. There are actually people like me who specialize in organizational development. It just means how an organization works as a system. But you guys need to think about a future org chart, a future organization structure at the point of mission completion. So again, on that previous module where we talked about the strategy key, we talked about the clarity of an objective mission, a destination-oriented mission with that qualitative and quantitative piece to it. So with that clarity, now we can understand what does it look like to organize work when we achieve that mission. What does the org structure look like? How do we get customers, clients, patients, whoever it is that we're serving? How do we get them? Do we have a marketing team? Is it separate from a sales team? Or is it one client acquisition motion that we have? And our org structure has a leader over sales and marketing. Or do we have a marketing leader and a sales leader, right? Those types of decisions about how we organize work when we've achieved the mission, that future-oriented org chart will help you get really clear about the business that you're building. So if your second job is to build the team that's going to help you achieve the vision, you need to know what that end state is like. You need to begin with the end in mind around the organization structure itself. So you have to think about how is work organized in the future, then you can come back to today and look at how you're set up today. And now we start to see the gap. And we can start to understand what is our next key hire? What's the timing of that hire? But if you begin with the end in mind around the org structure, it's much easier for you to see how you're going to build to that. All right, so that's one part of building the team. The other part is the one that's probably more intuitive for you. When I said your second job is to build the team, you thought about specific people that you have on the team, and you need to build them up in their development. And then you thought about also building the team in terms of hiring people from the outside to come and help us do what we're doing, to help us achieve this vision that we've created together. So getting a future org chart really clear, understanding what your next hire is, then getting really clear about how you're going to bring those people in and in what order, and then how do I develop the people that I have now? Because wouldn't it be great if we can take the same, let's say you have 10 people on your team today, we can take the same 10 people and double our results because I invested in growing the current team. That's amazing, because you can double your results and you can pay them really well along the way. You don't have to pay them double. You can pay them really well and still get 2 times the result with the same number of people. And then as you grow, we are going to have to add other people. But because of that future org chart thing that you did, now you know which roles I'm going to be building over time, and you can build that in a smart way that's most productive for your team. So set the vision, build the team. I think we've covered that enough for now, but you can tell I'm a little passionate about it. I'd love to talk to you more about it later. Get the resources is your third job as the leader of your business. You can delegate all the other hats over time. When you hire those new people, we want to shed those hats, but you're never going to get rid of set the vision, build the team, and get the resources. So on get the resources, there's only so much financial runway for your business. And you know this. Every time you sell something, there's a little bit more added to the runway. But every time you spend something, there's a little bit taken away from that runway. And so it's our job as the CEO, as the business owner, to be really clear about how much financial runway we need in order to achieve the mission. Hopefully, you'll be able to achieve that runway by selling enough of your current products and services, or new products or services that you add. But through your own sales, you can finance that mission achievement. Now, for some of you, the opportunity is so big or the time frame is so condensed or the competition is so fierce that we might need to bring in outside capital in order to enable us to go achieve that mission. And so I'm not going to get into all the ways that you could do that, but I think you know of lots of ways that you can go looking for outside capital. Doesn't always have to be through an investor who's going to own shares of your business. It could be through debt financing, right? Going to a bank and getting a loan or a line of credit. There's lots of ways that you can do this, but it's your job to make sure that there's sufficient fuel for us to take this vehicle, this business, to where we're going, that destination-oriented mission. So, set the vision, build the team, get the resources. Those are your 3 jobs as a leader, and you must do them if you want to have any chance of achieving that mission that you guys have set out to do. Now, let me say one more part in the book that I just want to mention briefly, has to do with your mindset, your growth mindset, because you as a leader must grow if you want your business to grow. And let me say that again in a different way. Your business cannot outgrow your ability as a leader. And by extension, the ability of your leadership team. Your business cannot outgrow the collective ability of your leadership team. And if you take that one step further, and you know this to be true, but let me just say it, your business cannot outgrow the collective ability, talents, resources of the entire team together. So you must grow yourself, and you must be constantly working to develop those people. And I talked about that and build the team briefly, but I just really want to re-emphasize that here. You must be growing. Now, there's lots of ways to do this, but we know that one of them is just be a voracious reader or a podcast listener, right? That counts. But whether you're reading or listening, I got to work with Clay for 10 years, side by side. And I've worked with him beyond that, but like employed by Keep, working closely with Clay for 10 years. And I watched him over that time invest in coaching. I watched him over that time go to conferences, invest in leadership programs, and he read like crazy. So 6 books every quarter he would go through. If he had a flight, he would take a book and he would get through that. He would get that book done in one leg of that flight or both legs, but in 1 or 2 brief settings, he would get through that book. If he was driving into work or going somewhere else, he'd be listening to a podcast. Sorry, not a podcast, an audiobook, right? But he was just voraciously learning everything he could. And by pushing himself to learn, he was actually getting out ahead of what our business could do in terms of growth. So if you don't grow, your business is going to get capped at the level of your growth. And then by extension, to your leadership team and everybody else. So you must constantly be learning yourself and then pushing your team members to learn and grow. And you have to lead the way, not just by example, but maybe you are the ones doing a monthly leadership lunch with your key leaders just to help them learn a new leadership principle or to practice some leadership skill or talk about some leadership mindset piece, right? But you can be learning and teaching as you go to lift the collective ability of your team. Okay, probably said enough for this module, but leadership is key to your success. You can grow really far without learning to lead, but at some point you will hit a ceiling. And that's because you can only take it so far without learning how to build a team and lead a team. And then eventually you're going to have to lead leaders. It won't be enough just to lead a team of people. Now you're going to have to lead a team of leaders who are leading a team of people, right? And that growth for you is essential. Remember, the only three things that you must keep at the end of the day, all the other hats must go to other capable people that you're hiring and developing. But you have to learn to set the vision, build the team to achieve that vision, and make sure that we have the resources to be able to achieve that vision together. All right, I hope you enjoyed this module. Hope you enjoy learning how to be a great entrepreneur, a growth-oriented entrepreneur, and how to ultimately conquer the chaos with Clay's help.